What's up, what's up, what's up? This is Rap Sheet Hollywood. We bring you the livest, freshest commentary in Hollywood, but of course with a hip-hop flair. I'm your host, the incomparable Poop Diesel, and today, we are in the historic Roosevelt Hotel, Hollywood, California, right across from the Grauman Chinese Man Theater. It's going down. And who do I have as my guest today? Not only is a friend of mine, we went to school together, but an extraordinary director, producer, and owner of Hidden Empire Film Group, my man Deon Taylor in the building. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
How you feeling, man?
Great, man. I'm great.
Oh, man, it's beautiful that we finally get a chance to kind of just sit down and really dig deep, man.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I gotta sing your praises, first off. I've seen your growth. I mean, I've seen you be able to produce and direct films such as Meet the Blacks. I mean, that was a great comedy, you know, and I want to dig into it. But you also have a new film where you're breaking more boundaries, you know, Traffik, man. So let's start with Traffik and then let's back up a little bit and let's get some of your story, man. So Traffik, talk to us about
Traffik is a pretty incredible story, man. The movie follows Paula Patton Omar Epps, and basically they are a couple that is having a little bit of tension in their relationship. The Omar Epps character actually invites her on a weekend. I don't want to get a whole movie away, but he says, babe, let's go on a trip for the weekend. So they go away, and on this trip they actually stop at a gas station and they actually encounter something that is a little bit strange, but they don't really understand what it is at the time. And basically they stumble into a underground ring of some sort, and it basically follows them.
Right.
And the story is really unique, man. I wrote the movie based on the fact that I started doing a little bit of research on trafficking and human trafficking, and I got interested in that world because my daughter, who at the time was 12 years old, we were getting all these reports and emails from people in our area like, hey, be careful with your kids going to the mall. And I said, well, what's going on? And what we found out was there was tons of kids that were being used to email other kids on video games and so on and so forth to lure them to malls. And once they got them to the mall, they would abduct them. I said, man, this is crazy. And as I dug more and more, I started just, you know, being a guy that likes thriller and horror, I was like, man, this is just a nutty story. Then I started seeing real stories about my area, and that's how I started writing the screenplay. But it's a really, really good movie, man. I'm really excited, and you know, done 100% independently. Got very, very blessed, man. I was able to get Dante Spinotti to shoot the film as my cinematographer.
Now you got to break down who Dante is for some of the folks that might not know. Talk about some of his credits, man.
Oh man, from The Insider to Last of the Mohicans to I mean, what hasn't he shot?
Right.
I mean, he's been nominated for 5 Academy Awards. Just an incredible man. And you know, me being an independent filmmaker and being self-taught, this was like one of the biggest moments of my life, you know. And it's strange, man, because you don't realize how much humanity is in the space of Hollywood until you really tap into it. And for me, having no film school experience, having no, you know, no one taught me how to shoot. I just actually picked up a camera and learned on my own. To get to this guy, he had made 2 movies that I was absolutely a fan of. One was Heat. And when we started getting into the script, and they came and said, Deon, well, who do you think should be the cinematographer? I said, how about Dante Spinotti? It was a joke. And
some joke, huh?
No, but I mean, it was like, well, you know, you can't get him, right? And I was like, I know that. So what ends up happening is, just by chance, someone has an email on him from 15 years ago. This is a true story.
What?
Yes. I get the email and I write him a letter, a 2-page letter. And in the email, it's not about like, can I get you to do the movie? It was more so like I was reaching out. And about a week later, he responded. This is for real.
Wow.
And he responded like, man, this was an incredible letter you just wrote me. But I wrote the letter from a different place. I wrote it from my heart, and wrote it to him to express how big of a fan I was, and that I would love to learn from him. And I was working on an independent project. Next thing I know, man, I'm sitting at this man's house with his wife, having dinner, 74-year-old Italian man. And it was the first time he had sat with the African American filmmaker in this capacity and broke bread, and it's funny, man, like we just hit it off and it was great. And next thing I know, you know, I'm on set with this man, and that's what God does.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, your story is so inspirational. The whole idea of just from the ground up, you know, like you just kind of started out, didn't necessarily know how to necessarily play the game, but you figured it out.
Knew nothing.
You just kept going, and now look at you, you know, being very, very successful, and you got Traffik coming out, which the subject matter is very, very deep. You know, talk a little bit about the fact that you being an African American filmmaker, but then taking on such, you know, maybe untraditional topics that the African American community would talk about, you know.
Right. Yeah. I think my whole thing was to, in some of the movies I've made, from even Meet the Blacks was like a stretch, right? That was like a different type of movie. But before that, I did a film called Supremacy, which followed, you know, the true story about a white supremacist and a black family. And, you know, obviously my horror background was Chain Letter and different movies of that. I'm driven to different unique stories, but at the same time, I'm driven to those stories, and I view through the lens what the world really looks like. The world's not all white, it's not all black, right? But I see it the way I see it, and I feel like, man, some of these movies, traditionally you get a white lead, when they, you know, it's nothing wrong with having a black lead and the movie still being commercial. It doesn't have to be a black movie because it has a black lead.
Right.
And I just want to break those barriers, man. And I feel like for us as African American men first, when you're, you know, coming into business, you know, for me, I could name 10 people in my life right now that none of us had a father figure that owned a company, created a company, or went to business school, right? And 9 of them didn't have dads, right? So when you grow up and you say, oh, I want to do a business, who do you learn that from? So for most of us, film business, entertainment business, you know, stockbroker business, whatever it is, you own your own company, we have to learn how to do that. And normally you learn how to do that and you make a ton of mistakes at the beginning. And what traditionally happens when you make those mistakes is, as African American men, we don't get another chance. Because either you've blown it, you've used all your money, or you try it one time and you be like, I can't do that again, I can't afford to do that again. So you walk away. So for me, it was a very unique experience trying to go from playing basketball into the film space, because I had no knowledge of any of it. I just knew something in me was saying, this is what you should be doing. And I just, you know, it's a weird analogy where you almost have to be a little reckless and crazy, right? And you jump off of a cliff like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I actually did it. And a lot of people see me jump and was like,
did he fall? Is he all right? Did he land all right?
Oh, he did. He did. No, but you gotta jump off and you gotta learn, and you gotta take those lumps and figure it out. And for this, it's like people are like, oh my God, like you got 4 movies coming out this year. What are you doing? And I'm like, man, we're doing this 15 years.
Wow, that's the real grind.
15 years, man. Like 15 years in a very, very hard way, where there is no tomorrow. There is no, I don't have no gas, right? Can't pay my rent. 15 years of that, you know what I mean? So now I'm humbled by the experience and just love it.
Man, Rap Sheet Hollywood, we're gonna come back with more of my man Deon Taylor, man. Y'all stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe. Rap Sheet Hollywood, and we out.